So how do we access the hidden realms of our inner power? What if someone came to you and said, you've been given that secret formula to unlock hidden power? Well, that's exactly what happened to me. I was in a women's conference one day, and I was eagerly awaiting what that speaker had to say to me when he suddenly became confused on the stage. He stuttered and stopped. He apologized and said, "I'm sorry, but there's something I have to do before I can complete my presentation." And he came down off the stage and began to walk amongst the audience. He scanned the faces up and down, walked down the aisle, and when he came to the row where I was seated, he locked eyes with me, pointed his finger at me, and said, "You, stand up. God's got a message for you." And it's so important that he disrupted this entire presentation to give it to you. He wants you to know he's given you an Esther gift. He's given you the secret formula to unlock beauty and to unlock that inner power in women. He said women feel beat down. They have poor self-esteem. They feel less than and unlovely. And your gift and your calling in life is to unlock that power in them and to let them be all they've been called to be. What did that mean? So Esther, as I learned later, I began to study who was Esther and what was that story of Esther. But Esther was a young woman, a Jewish woman, who lived in a time when the Jews were in captivity. So she had purposed in her heart that she was going to go before the king and she was going to plead for the release of her captive Jews. Now, during that time, she would have been stoned to death, but instead she prepared. She and her uncle prepared her for an entire year to go before the king. And when she did, he was so entranced by her beauty that not only did he not have her stoned, he married her and granted her her very wish to release her people. Now, how did that come about? What was that secret power that Esther had that allowed her to have favor with the king? Well, she had prepared. She had prepared to make a good first impression. So what was that specific key that she used? It was her beauty, and it was the fact that she had prepared and made that good first impression. There is power in the first impression. If we look at this woman on the screen, she is attractive, she's put together. I'd say she's friendly, she's smiling, she looks inviting, she has her hand outstretched. But how long did it actually take you to make that first impression? It typically takes less than 7 seconds. Less than 7 seconds. Think about that. It takes less than 7 seconds for you to be sized up when you're in a job interview, when you're making a sales presentation, or even on a first date. So what if those first 7 seconds are less than perfect? Then what? Studies show that it takes up to 8 subsequent positive impressions to change that person's mind. So if you weren't given the right first impression, you could lose that job. You could lose the sale. So what is it that allows you to make that good first impression? Herein lies the magic of aesthetics. There is a golden ratio in nature called the phi, or the golden ratio. It's 1 to 1.618. And if you look at these beauties, they are obviously beautiful women. Their features fall exactly according to the golden ratio. The height of their brow, the width of their eyes compared to the width of their face, the height of their nose, the the size of their upper lip compared to their lower lip. So in nature, symmetry and mathematical balance equates to attractiveness. So when we're more attractive, we're perceived better, and attractive people get further in life. They get the job, they get the better paying job, they get better, more fulfilling relationships. There is power in beauty. Now, we don't like to admit that the more attractive person might have gotten the job over the one that was more highly credentialed, but in life, the first impression gets you further ahead. So when you have a better self-esteem and more self-confidence, you become better in life. So self-confidence is your superpower. When you start believing in yourself, that's when the magic starts to happen. So I'd like to show you a few real-life case studies. These are people that we have done very minimal yet powerful changes in their aesthetics to allow them to make a better first impression. First, we have Carmela. Now, Carmela came in, and when she came into my office, she was very distraught. She felt like she was unattractive. She said her nose was too wide, her face was too heavy, her lips were unbalanced. These were minor things. So first of all, I lifted her brow with Botox, because opening your eyes and having a wider aperture to your eyes immediately makes you look more friendly and more approachable. So we lifted her brow, gave her some Botox to slenderize her jawline, a little bit of Botox in her lip to give her a little bit more balance and put her closer to that mathematical ratio that automatically equates to attractiveness. I also put a little bit of filler in her nose to give her the illusion that her nose was a little longer and less broad. And you can tell from her after photo that she has definitely gained some self-confidence. She's here with a red headband, she's got red lipstick on, she has jewelry on. She's definitely improved her self-confidence. Next, we have Patricia. So Patricia's a little bit older, and her concerns are, I always look tired. I look like I'm unhappy or I'm sad. And so I gave her some more volume in her cheeks by adding some filler. But I think most importantly, in her lips, in turning up the corner of her mouth, that automatically gave her a more friendly, approachable look. So if you look at those two photos, she's at rest in both photos. The first one, she looks unhappy or sad, yet the second one with her lips at neutral position makes her look more approachable. She looks more friendly. And next we have Tiffany. Tiffany is a young rock star saleswoman, but she says she constantly gets people asking her, is something wrong? Are you angry? Are you upset? Because of the lines between her brow. And she was also concerned about what she called her bulldog face, where she had heavy jowls that made her look a little more unpleasant or angry. But she also had asymmetrical lips. So what I did for Tiffany is a little bit of Botox to soften those lines between her brow, a little bit of filler to give her a more symmetrical look, to taper down her jawline, and then balance her lips to put them back in the right mathematical proportion. But this isn't just for women. Men want to look their best too. They need to make the best first impression as well. So Hunter is an entrepreneur. He has his own business, he's a hairstylist, and he does care about his appearance. He spent a lot of time and energy losing 100 pounds, but he felt like although that helped his physique, it actually detracted from his face. He felt like his face had as he put it, melted off. So adding some filler to give him a little more depth and dimension makes him very much more approachable. And next we have Jared. So Jared is actually a radio star. So he has a lot of presentations. He's in the public eye a lot. He's concerned that he makes a great impression with those people. But not only that, he just recently married a woman more than 10 years his junior. So he's concerned that when he's hanging out with her friends, that he looks old. So we did some Botox in his forehead and in his crow's feet, and now he's softer, he looks more approachable, younger, more virile, and he has much more self-confidence to approach those people and feel like he can be his very best. So it doesn't matter how attractive a person is. If they don't feel it, it doesn't exist. That's powerful. You have to feel attractive to have self-confidence. And if you have self-confidence, you're tapping into that inner power that actually lets you be what you're called to be. So what matters most is how you see yourself. So if you don't see yourself as a tiger, nobody else will. I think I'd like to share a story about a client. So one of my employees, her mom was diagnosed with lymphoma, and it was pretty far advanced and fairly critical at this point. She was going to go have some chemotherapy. They weren't sure how far advanced it was. And she called me and she said, I would like to let my mom come in and see you before she goes in. And her appointment was 2 weeks later. But when her mom came in, she started crying. And she said, I know this sounds crazy, but I'm going to lose my hair. What if my scalp is wrinkly? And I laughed. I said, your scalp is going to be perfectly smooth. It's going to be fine. And she said, but then I'm going to look terrible because my face is wrinkly. So I treated her, and she called back and said, I cannot tell you how much that empowered me to face what I had to face. I felt powerless in that situation, and by feeling like I could face it looking better, I felt so much better about it. I have stories of clients every day who come in, and they come in wanting Botox, but they really don't know what they want. They come in because they feel bad, and they think that's going to make them feel better. I had a client who came in and told me that her husband had just left her. And she said, he left me for a younger woman, and I can't change that. But I feel broken, and I feel like I need to build back my self-confidence. And we did it through aesthetics. We made her feel better, gave her a little Botox, a little bit of filler, helped her to smooth out a few lines and wrinkles that she had, and give her that inner confidence to go forward with what she had to go forward. I tell my clients that I'm really there to build their self-confidence. Botox is just our cover. You know, that's what we do to get where we want to be. It's not the end game. And you're right, most people feel like this is just for celebrities, that this isn't something for everyday people. But we all need to feel self-confident. We all need to feel empowered. And if we can change a little bit of our outward appearance to give us that inner confidence and to give us that power, that's what we need. Thank you.